Well, let's get started. It's 1 o'clock officially, and I know how everybody's time is super valuable. So I want to welcome everybody that is attending today. Hello, Eileen. Welcome, as well as and Melinda. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. Just real quickly, welcome to today's webinar, Beyond the Basics Listing Presentation using Keynote on your mobile device. As a matter of fact, besides Keynote, I'm going to show you, how you could just basically do a listing presentation in general with using just your mobile device. It doesn't necessarily have to be Keynote, but we'll go over some of those nuances. Just a quick introduction of who I am. My name is Anthony. I work here at the Orange County Association of Realtors. I've been here now coming up on 16 years. Started off in the MLS department, so I know I'll speak to most of you, if not all of you, regarding rules, regulations, violations, things like that. What I mostly do today is I work with our outreach program. Our outreach program is designed to give you training on your various tools and products. So not only do I train on MLS, but I also train on zip forms, which if you were here earlier this morning for our first webinar, we went over digitally signing contracts using either DocuSign or Digital Link. So we had a really good turnout for that. So if you attended that and are attending this today, welcome back. To what we're going over today, using your mobile device. Now, one of the things that I love using mobile for is to start going paperless in your business. And one of those ways of going paperless in your business is by creating a listing presentation. So today what we're going to do, if you have an iPad device, we're going to focus on Keynote today. If you have a PC device, you can use PowerPoint. But just to go over things real quickly, what is Keynote? Keynote basically is Mac's version of Microsoft Windows PowerPoint. It allows you to create presentations. If you have a newer iPad or an iPhone device, you can download Keynote absolutely free. For the older tablet devices, say if you're using an iPad 2 or 3 or an iPad Air 1, then this is a one-time cost of $10 out of your app store. If you're a Microsoft user, you're going to need to use or want to use PowerPoint. So they are very easy to use. Just real quickly, what Keynote or the things I like about Keynote, it's very easy to use. It's got really nice visual tools that you can easily use. You're capable of pulling in photos and videos into your presentations. I'm going to stress video mostly because now you're going to be able to give a dimension in your listing presentation that a sheet of paper cannot perform. You can also make interactive charts and graphs. You can tie all your slides together using what I like to call cinema quality transitions. Basically how information comes in and out. That's basically where your showmanship of your presentation comes in. And if you do already currently have a PowerPoint presentation that you have created and you have a tablet device or an iPad device with you, then you can very easily get the PowerPoint document into Keynote. It will easily convert. You don't have to do anything weird or special at all. So Keynote loves talking to PowerPoint documents. It will convert it. You can actually convert a Keynote document into a PowerPoint document if you choose to, which unfortunately PowerPoint likes to limit itself in not saving in other formats like Keynote. So they kind of get a little exclusive, but that's one of the nice things that I like about Keynote. Okay, so let's try to get started in making a presentation. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you some really quick tips or show you how easy it is to use Keynote to make a presentation. So maybe you're working in an open house, or maybe you do have a Mac on your computer at home or anything like that. What we're going to do very easily, and we're going to leave my presentation here, you're going to download the app, in this case Keynote, on your iPad. With the icon that's downloaded, you're going to tap it to access it. And one really cool thing that I like about this is that if you're an iPhone user and an iPad user, if you create a listing presentation on your iPad, your phone automatically has access to it. Just like if you were having a Mac computer at home and you created a Keynote listing presentation on your Mac at home, your iPad and your iPhone immediately have access to it. So that's one of the really cool things that I like about our about Mac's products, is that it's just seamless throughout the entire process. Now, are there any questions before we get started on how to create a presentation? And by the way, just in case you were wondering, we are recording today's webinar. Every attendee that is attending today's webinar will get a copy of the webinar. So if I do go over something too quickly, one, definitely ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to go over it again. Or two, you'll get a copy of the recording so that you can watch our presentation again. Oh, and by the way, given time today, because I want to show you how quick and easy these tools are, I want to go over a demo listing presentation with you. So if you don't have a listing presentation currently, you will get access, and I will email everyone today a copy of our demo listing presentation that I created using Keynote. So at least it will give you a start or a starting point that you can modify, create to make your own presentation, okay? So those are going to be some of the cool benefits that you're going to get from today's webinar. Are there any questions? No? Okay. All right. So to create a presentation, very simply, again, we're going to tap on the Keynote icon on my tablet device. Keynote's going to open up. It's going to give me a list of all my created presentations that I've used to create Keynote. To create a new presentation, I'm going to come over to the top right corner, and I'm going to tap on this big giant plus sign right here in the top right corner. When I tap on that icon, one of the many things that I love about Keynote, along with all of Mac's products, you are given a template to choose from. Now, in Keynote, you have over 36 different templates to pick from in order to create a presentation. Each template has its own background color, its own theme, its own font style, things like that. So what does this mean for you as an agent? Well, this means for you that you can be fully creative to create your own style of listing presentation. Now, I know that some of you attending today are probably working at some big brokerage, that some of the big brokerages actually have their own listing presentation. Now, the one thing that I've seen as a problem with those, now don't get me wrong, those are beautiful presentations, but a lot of it, 90% of it, or more than 90% of it, is all about the company. It's really not about you. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel that when you're sitting down and presenting something and trying to convince somebody to go and list with you, it's not necessarily being listed with the company. You're just a representative of the company. So really, you're selling yourself. So I think when it comes to making a listing presentation, you want to find the style that you like that will sell you. Because really, a listing presentation is not meant to sell any, it's meant to enhance you, not the other way around. You're not there to enhance the presentation. You're there to be enhanced, or the presentation is there to be enhancing you, to show off or showcase what you can do or what you do for a potential client. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so here we've got 36 different styles to choose from, right? When you see a style that you like or a template that you like, simply tap on the template. Now the template opens up, and now we can begin to edit the template. So we have here page one of our first page of our presentation. Very simply, with a touch of a finger, we double tap to edit, and now we can begin to type in text. Again, double tap on the text boxes, that pre-exist. Things like that. Now, once you're done with page 1, you need to add in more pages to your presentation. Well, on an iPad, in Keynote, to add an extra page to the presentation, at the bottom left-hand corner, we've got the big plus sign here. If I tap on the plus sign here, now I'm going to get a slew of choices. Now, depending on the template type that you selected, your extra slides will all be based around the same theme. So the same background colors, the same font styles, but you've got different slides to choose from, like maybe a header slide with a picture, or a header with bullet points, or a mixture of bullet points and a header and a picture slot. You even have a slide that's just dedicated to photos. Simply, what you do is just simply tap on the slide that you want to add in, and now the slide's been added, and then again, double tap the text to begin to modify your text. And you're going to type in your points. Now, if you do nothing else, all you got to do is just keep adding in slides. Just like so. So all you have to do is just add in the slides to your presentation and edit what you need. Okay? So if you do nothing else in your listing presentation, that's the bare bones. But there are other things that we can do in this presentation. We want to be able to add in photos. We want to be able to add in video. Maybe, yes, in this slide, I've only got bullet points, but I've got all this extra blank space over here to the right, right? Or maybe I want the text to be moved from the left to the right-hand side. Or I want to change the font styles or anything like that. This is where, at the very top right corner, these tools come in. Now, the tools at the very top here, starting from left to right, we've got the play button. The play button basically plays our presentation. So as we add in our transitions and builds and we're ready to present our listing presentation, we tap on that, and now everything will activate and play through. The paintbrush icon, this is called the formatting tool. The formatting tool allows us to format text or photos, font styles, text styles, things like that in our presentation. The plus icon allows us to add things into the presentation, like shapes and shapes, charts, graphs, photos, video into the presentation. We can even add in extra text boxes into a presentation if we wanted to. The three dots here, this stands for the more choice. The more choice basically allows us to do other things like add in transitions and builds, basically how slides come in and out or content in the slide comes in and out for the presentation. This also allows us to share the presentation or email it to a client after we're done, things like that. So we're going to have a little fun with this. So if we wanted to format, or by any chance, are there any questions thus far? Looks pretty simple so far? Maybe? Excellent. Okay, so say I wanted to format these bullets or these bullet points, the topics, things like that. Very simply, I'm going to tap on my screen, on my tablet device, so that the text box is selected. How you know it's selected? You see the lines here with the little dots, no different than PowerPoint. With these little dots, what I can do is place my finger on one of those, and now I can shrink the text box. If the text was long, it would auto-wrap the text in the text box. Okay. With the text box selected, with a tap of a finger or a touch of a finger, I can press and hold on the text box and begin to move the text box from left to right, up and down on the slide. With two fingers pressed on the text box and I rotate my fingers, I can rotate the text just like so. Okay. With the text box also selected, I can now come over to the top right and hit the paintbrush icon to format. So maybe I don't like the text color, or want to change the text size or type. I tap on the paintbrush, and now starting with style, I can change the style of the text box itself, meaning that I can fill it in with color, and now depending on the color, the text inside the text box now becomes white. I can add in a border, shadow, reflection effects to the text box itself. Like reflection would show like a reflection in water, where it would show the text here, but then it would duplicate the text underneath of it, which is kind of cool. The text itself we can format very simply. We just tap on the text. From here, we can change the paragraph style of the text box, but most importantly, we can bold, italicize, underline the text, as you can see here. We can strike it through if we wanted to. So if I show you the strike through, we strike lines through the text. Okay. We can change the font size just by pressing our fingers either on the plus sign or the minus sign to make it bigger or smaller. We can even change the color. There we go. We can change the color of the text to a different color. There we go. Maybe a little bit more blue. So a little bit different than what the template had. Besides the text color, we can also change the font itself. So here we have the font. We just choose the font. And now we have all these other different fonts to choose from that we can change our text to. So maybe we'll go Cornor Devargi in the text box. Okay. Or whatever other market felt. There you go. Besides the text, you can left justify, center justify, right justify, or full justify the text within the text box. Also, we can take the text and either put it closer towards the top, the bottom, or about the middle. Okay, so that's what you're going to basically do with formatting. Now, besides formatting, we'll move that over, and actually I'll move that over here. There we go. We have the add tool. We want to add something into our presentation now. Maybe we want to add in charts and graphs and tables and things like that. Here we hit the plus icon, starting from left to right. Our tables. Here we can add in tables. Tables are great for giving out statistical information. So here you can make, a column table. If you notice here, based on our template, the color of the tables are all based around our color theme from our template that we've selected. Here we have a header highlighted, or header and the y-axis highlighted, or part of it. One that's totally blank, or a full y and x-axis highlight. If you notice that down below we have several dots. Here we can choose several different formats of tables to put in. So here we've got one that's got top, bottom, and left-hand side highlighted, all based around our color theme. Okay. Very simply, to add a table, we just simply select the table that we want. Now from here, with it selected, we can move it. Tap in the cell, type in your text. Maybe you tap in your numbers. So maybe I have here active, backup, pending, and sold. Now from here, I may put in my numbers. Now I've got 2 rows, 4 columns of table. Everything else can be, I need to get rid of. How I do that, I simply tap on the table, so that I get to see, like in Excel, my row and columns. From here, I'm going to tap on a row. With the row selected, I'm now going to select delete to get rid of my rows that I don't need. I could do the same thing for a column. Simply insert, delete, fit the text in the column, however you want. Okay. Whatever you might need. Move it around. Okay. Now, the next thing that you can add, charts and graphs. Sorry about that. Charts and graphs. Here, charts and graphs are great. Bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts, things like that. With statistics, it's always nice when you're putting in numbers and statistics of a neighborhood, use a chart and graph. Now, most of your charts and graphs here, by the way, we start off with 2D or two-dimensional graphics, but we also have three-dimensional. We have interactive, meaning that when you go into the slide, the information automatically starts to fill in when you go into the slide, which is kind of cool. Oh, we have a question here. Question is, when you delete something like a row in the chart, can I undo or reverse the arrow in the upper left corner? Yes. In the upper left-hand corner here, you have an undo. So if we did something by mistake and we wanted to undo it, I just hit the backwards arrow and that will take back what I did. I hope that helps. Okay, so back to adding in a chart. Besides our 2D, 3D interactive graphics here, again, we have based on our color theme, we have our little dots down below. If we scroll with our finger, we get different color charts, our bar graphs, line graphs, okay? All based around our color theme. For a 3D graphic, I like this because this will now give an illusion of depth into our slide, which is really great for a electronic presentation. So say as an example, I wanted to add on a pie chart. I simply tap on the pie chart. Now from here, and we'll go over edit data here in a second, with the pie chart selected, I can now move it, grab the little dots, make it bigger or smaller, okay? But you'll notice that in the middle here, we have this weird funky rotational style icon. If I place my finger or stylus on that middle choice here, and I move my finger around, I can now move that chart to now give this illusion of depth. Okay? So maybe we do something like that. Now, to edit the information on this pie chart, simply tap on the chart, and now you're going to select Edit Data. From here, we can now put in our numbers. So now what we should do is remember what colors are going to be our active information, and maybe our backup, and our pending, and then our sold. Now from here, I have 4 statuses, but I got 2 extra colors. Simply to get these colors out of your pie chart, simply take out the information just like so. With no information in these 2 cells or these cells, that will automatically, when I hit done, take away these 2 colors and leave in only the colors that I have info. So here, maybe we put in those numbers again. There are 2 active in the neighborhood. Maybe there's 4 backup, 3 pending, and 7 closed. Now when I hit done, my pie chart automatically adjusts with those numbers. Now, how do you know what these numbers are? Well, that's where you have your table. What I would do is, with most of these charts and graphs, next to them have your tables. Have your table here that have the actual numbers of your active, pending, backup, and closed. That way this number or this chart works in conjunction with the two. And I'll show you that in our listing presentation in a few moments. Okay. The next thing that you want to be able to add are shapes. Shapes are great because, and we'll go back to our basic shapes here. Here, this will allow us to point out certain things within our presentation. Maybe there's information that I want them to specifically see. Maybe I need to add in an arrow into that chart. Or even better yet, I need to add in extra text boxes. Here, there's a text choice under the basic shapes. When I tap on text, now a text box has been inserted. Now I can simply double tap on it, type in my text. I can maneuver it, I can format it, I can do whatever I want with it at that moment. Okay. The last thing that you'll be able to add is your photos and videos. Okay. So here what we can do is add in our photos, maybe some of our listing photos, or a picture of some of our photos from properties that we have had taken. Excuse me, when I add a photo into the presentation, the photo takes up the full size of the screen. If you notice that here we have our little dots all the way around the photo. If I press my finger on that dot, I can shrink the photo, I can maneuver it. Or if I double tap the photo, now I can go into crop mode. What that does is I can now, pinpoint certain things in the photo itself, and now when I hit done, it crops the photo for what I need it to do. Okay. So here maybe I add in a couple of photos. I cropped out the information that I don't need. Right? The front of the house, the side of the house, whatever. The next thing that you definitely want to add is video. Here we can upload the video. So one thing that I would definitely recommend is your client testimonials. What you want to do is you want to look at your client testimonial videos. So get your clients to say something nice about you, hopefully, and then take that video and use that video in your presentation, right? Shrink it, move it, place it in there. Reason why I suggest a hard video is that now you don't need to have internet in order to play your videos. So put in a couple of your virtual tours, put in a couple of your client testimonials to show exactly what it is that you do. I would also insert text boxes that have the web link to your YouTube channel for those videos, because we'll go over some cool things about that here in a minute. But you can do this, okay? So far, are there any questions about adding anything into your presentation? Am I moving too slow, or is this a good pace for everybody? Okay, sounds good. All right. So after you add in your information, your pictures, your videos, your text boxes, all your slides into your presentation, right? Now we need to have our showmanship, transitions and builds. Now, transitions and builds are all about how you want your content to come in, leave, and be presented. How we add in a transition to a slide, meaning that we want this slide to go from this slide to that slide to this slide. Very simply, we select the slide. We come over to our three dots over here, the More choice. Now we get a whole slew of menu choices, one of which is Transitions and Builds. When I select Transitions and Builds, here at the slide, it defaults to say none. That means that there is no current transition effect applied to this slide. Simply tap on the plus sign, and now I am given 36 different effects that I can apply. Now, one of the really cool things I like about Keynote is that when I select an effect, at the top left corner, I get to immediately play that effect. So I can see what this effect is going to do. So again, part of your presentation is that you can now totally customize your presentation to you. your showmanship style, your presentation style. Add in those effects to those slides on how you want to go from one set of information to the other. Now, if we're adding in things to the transition or to the slide itself, we can also affect content within the slide. So again, we hit the More choice, Transitions and Builds, it defaults to the slide, but if I want to add in transitions to the content, simply tap on the content. Now I get two choices here, a build-in and a build-out. Now the differences between a build-in and a build-out is how information build-in, how information comes into the slide, build-out, how information leaves the slide. Now 9 times out of 10, you as an agent will never ever choose a build-out. Reason why is that you want information to come there or come in, stay there, and burn in their brains, right? So you don't want to ever leave their site until you're done with that slide. So you'll probably very rarely ever choose a build out. But to build in how you want the content to come in, we hit the plus sign again. Now we first start off with the effect. So maybe I have the fly in effect selected. Now the moment I select the fly in effect, down below next to the effects, I have several other choices. One is the options. The options says first and foremost, how fast do you want the effect to happen? Typically, you want it to happen around 1 second. Reason why, or certain effects will be set at 2.5 seconds. Now, I don't know about you all, but if anybody in this presentation today has ever sat through or done a listing presentation and you were waiting for a response from a client and it seemed like 1 or 2 seconds or those 5 or 6 seconds, didn't it feel like hours? Well, that's going to be this way with the duration. If you have it set for 2.5 seconds to wait for information to fly in, you're going to start sweating bullets because it'll seem like 2 or 3 minutes. So what I would suggest is you grab that little bobble and make the fly in effect or whatever effect within 1 second. Reason why you leave it at about a second is that if you make it shorter than a second, the effect happens so fast that you lose that wow factor. If you make it longer than a second, again, it seems like you're waiting forever for it to happen. So 1 second is usually around a good time. Now, based on the effect that I've chosen, I also, under options, can choose where this effect happens in from. So in this case, because I've chosen the fly-in effect, I can say I want the fly-in of these bullet points to happen from the left, right, top, bottom, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So I can say where this information is going to come in from. Okay? Maybe I want it to come in from the top. Now at this point, beside your options, if I scroll down a little bit further, Start. Start Build says on the tap, meaning that I have to tap my tablet device to make the bullet points fly in from the top every 1 second or in 1 second. Okay? You want to leave it on the tap. That way you're in full control over what information appears on your screen. If you say right after the transition, that means that as soon as the slide comes in, all these bullet points fly in from the top right away. Now, if these happen to be questions, you may not want that, only because you want to give yourself some time to ask a question, wait for an answer, then ask your other question, wait for an answer. So that way it's a little bit more interactive. I hope that makes sense. The last part that we'll go over here is the delivery. Here, because we have bullet points selected, we can make the bullet points happen all at once, meaning that we want all 4 bullet points here to fly in from the top within 1 second, or we can say by bullet point, meaning that I have to tap the iPad 1, 2, 3, 4 times to make each of these come in 1 second. So maybe I tap the iPad once to get my first bullet point, ask the question, before I tap it again to make another bullet point appear, so on and so forth. Okay? That is Keynote in a nutshell. Are there any questions on Keynote? And you can do this even in PowerPoint. Do you have any questions at all? Now, just to keep, if you have no questions, here's a couple of reminders, by the way, for your listing presentation. In your presentation, keep in mind that if you have one presentation and you're going to go and door knock a neighborhood, make a copy of it. I'll show you how easy it is to make a copy of a presentation in Keynote. But that way you're not affecting the original, but you edit the copies. And what's nice about editing copies is that you can tailor it to each and every client. So if you happen to door knock a neighborhood, you can change just one slide to a person's name, an address, and a picture of the property. So it makes it look like and feel like you were already pre-prepared for them. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. Second, if you're making statistical information about the neighborhood, like active, pending, backup, and closed for the past 30 days, or 60 days, or 30 days, periodically go in and update that data, okay? People in the neighborhood are aware of information, okay? They like to think that they know it better than you. So if you give outdated data, they're going to call you out right away on it. So if you do have charts and graphs with statistical data in there, periodically update it, okay, depending on what it is. And then lastly, above all else for your presentation, have fun. Contrary to popular belief, giving information does not have to be done in a boring way. As a matter of fact, it's been proven without a doubt that if you give information and it's fun and it's entertaining, people tend to remember that information, hold on to that information a lot longer, and they tend to remember who gave them that information. So you want to be memorable. And a way to do this is to have fun with it. And how do you have fun with it? Practice. Practice giving your listing presentation. Okay? Are there any questions? Okay. So with that said, if there are no questions, let's go over a demo listing presentation. So this is the presentation that I created, and basically I based this on about 1,000 different presentations that I went onto the internet, kind of looked around, seen what other agents and other companies were kind of doing, and I put together something that was what I feel is kind of the backbone of any given listing presentation. And again, every attendee that's attending today will get a copy of this, so I definitely recommend that you modify it, but you will get a copy of this by tomorrow when you get your video. So I just want to show you, if you don't have one, where to start, or if you do have one, maybe you take some of the ideas out of this one and maybe modify and change it, especially if you're like, oh, I've got one, but it's, I don't know if it's really good or not. Maybe this will help steer you in a different direction. Okay. All right. So what we do, ideally, we are door knocking a neighborhood. Before we door knock that house, maybe we use apps like MLS Touch or Realist, or even better yet, HomeSnap, to be able to find out some information about the property that we're about to knock on, like property address, who owns it, things like that. So maybe in my presentation, before I go and meet or door knock this house, I have a cover slide. Here in my cover slide, say who you prepared the presentation for. How do you know their name? Well, you're going to find it on their tax records. HomeSnap will have the tax record data, so you will be able to see if the property, one, is listed by another agent, or two, it's not listed by an agent, but you get to see the homeowner information. So who owns it, if it's vested in a trust, LLC, whatever. In your cover slide, put in that owner's name, or Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or whatever, right? Next, you'll put in the address. Obviously, you'll know the address based on HomeSnap's GPS location will tell you the address of the actual property. And then your opening slide, or your picture, here you have a picture of the property. You've got a camera on your tablet device. Take a picture of the outside of the home. Put it as part of your presentation. Now, when you door knock that neighborhood and you introduce yourself to Mr. or Mrs. Jane Smith, and you go and sit down at the table and you open up your presentation and you hit play, they're going to see this very first slide. And they're going to go, oh, wow, how did you know who I was? Wow, that looks like you were just there outside. Yep, I'm a Boy Scout. I need to make sure that I'm prepared. Now we tap the screen. We're going to talk about our approach to selling real estate. Maybe you put a nice little quote, maybe you add in a photo. You know, we have an intelligent marketing approach to selling real estate. Maybe you put in your company logo. Slide number 3, we're going to have some goals today. You, I, the client, right? Goal number 1, I want to get to know you as a person better. Not just as a client, but as a person. I believe in an upfront, no nonsense to selling real estate. I believe in relationships. You know, it's not just about just getting your business. I want to get to know you as a person better because, hey, if I get to know you, why wouldn't you want to list with a good friend, right? Goal number 2, I'm going to answer any and all your questions. This is a typical one, right? All the agents that I know have probably been asked some of the most off-the-wall questions. So be prepared because they're going to ask you some really crazy things sometimes that if you've never been on a presentation, you should be prepared to try to answer, or at least give them the answer of, I'm not sure exactly how to answer that right now. Let me go and check some resources and I'll get back to you with that answer. It's way better than saying, I have no idea, no clue, or I don't know, right? At least you're willing to try to find those answers for them. Goal number 3, I'm going to ask you some important information about yourself, about, you know, to bond with you, to talk with you, but most importantly, maybe about what you're looking for, maybe why you're wanting to sell, where you want to move, you know, things like that, what you're looking for. Goal number 4, most importantly, I'm going to determine if I'm the right agent for you. Now, a lot of agents at this point usually ask me a question, well, wait a minute, Tony, aren't I the right agent for them? They need to be the right client for me. Well, if you say, I need to determine if you're the right client for me or you're the right fit for me, won't that put a lot of people off? Because if you tell somebody, I need to make sure that you're the right fit for me, what do they end up doing a lot of times? A lot of times they all of a sudden lean back in their chair or they fold their arms across their chest. Now they're totally closed off to anything that you're saying. Here, let's think about the reverse psychology. If you say that I need to make sure that I'm the right fit for you, right? I'm looking out for your best interests. That's what you're trying to tell. You're kind of telling this client, right? I'm going to look out for your best interest because it's not just about gaining your business. I need to make sure that our relationship is a good one to make sure that your needs are fully met. So I want to look out for you. Now, part of that reverse psychology as well is that how often, and do you remember when you were a kid and you liked somebody and you told them that you liked them? They ignored you, right? I like you so much. And then they just turned around and made fun of you and they turned away, right? And you felt rejected. Well, in this case, when you got older and you started showing no interest in somebody else that liked you, they wanted you even more, right? Well, here, this is kind of that concept. If you say that you're the right fit for somebody, now all of a sudden maybe they'll be a little bit more intrigued to listen to what you have to say. Because they're going to be surprised going, what do you mean you're looking out for my interest? That's unusual. Not every agent out there is like that. And they'll want to listen more. And of course, hey, if you're saying that you might not be the right fit for me, wait a minute. Let me see what, I know you've got to be the right fit for me at that point. So use that reverse psychology. All right. Now we're going to bring it back to about us a little bit because, hey, again, it's about us, right? We're going to talk about ourselves personally. Now, in this case, maybe we talk about where we grew up, if we're married, if we have kids, what our hobbies are. This is all meant to not just pitch to them, but allow them to bond with us, right? Maybe we grew up in the same neighborhood. Maybe we have spouses that we've been married for about the same amount of time, and we're both going through the same growing experiences of being a married, people, right? We have kids about the same age, so we know exactly what our growing pains are like, right? Oh, your teenager does this. My teenager does the same thing. Ha, ha, ha. Let's bond. And, of course, talk about your hobbies, what you like to do, right? Because, again, it's all about relationship build. Now, this is by slide 4. Slide 5, this is my resume. Now, unlike a normal resume that I'm sure we all mostly grew up or grew up with, where it was a one-page written experience of everything that we did, right? And as we all know, when it comes to resume writing, there is no exact science other than if it's too wordy, people tend to glaze over and shut down. And most of that time, by line 3 of a resume, they put it on the stack and ignore you, right? Because this is a job interview, we want to make our resume look a little bit different. Maybe we add in the shapes and make a timeline. When you got into the business to now, in this time that you've been working, name off some of the key points that you've done in your business career. Maybe when you joined Orange County, when you got your license, when you got your certifications and designations, things like that. Maybe when you were recognized by your company as the top listing or buying or all-around agent for that year. Put that in there. Don't be afraid. Add in your text boxes. Add in your shapes. Okay? Things like that. By the way, if you notice, by slide 5, we're still talking about our website. We still have our company logo here. It's just not dominating the page. Now, we've talked about ourselves enough. Slide 6, tell me about your home. You got to bring it back to the client, right? What drew you to your home when you first bought it? Good question to ask. What's your most favorite feature about the house? Now, this is an important question, right? Not only is this great for marketing, right? Because this is the 10,000th house you've seen this week. And after a while, every feature seems to look exactly the same, right? But marketing purposes, if it's a favorite feature of this for this person, for this house, it might be for marketing a favorite feature for a potential buyer. So we want to emphasize that. But think about it. This seller today is going to be the buyer tomorrow. So if it's a favorite feature in their house right now, it's definitely going to be a favorite feature in their next, right? Because this is why it's hard for a lot of homeowners to let go, because they don't want to feel that they're losing out. They feel that no other house out there has these features. And it's our job as real estate agents, or your job as real estate agents, to show them that there are homes out there that do have these features plus more. So it's a favorite feature in this house. It's definitely going to be a favorite feature in their next. Now, what's nice about this is that now we're double-ending the client, right? Because they're the seller today, they're the buyer tomorrow. Now we've got a full-service client fully served. And what's the benefits? The commission on the listing side is one thing. The commission on the buying side is going to be another. Now we've got a double commission. One for the listing side and now one for the buying side for my client. You don't necessarily need to double end a listing. Double end your client. I am amazed today how many agents have told me here at Orange County that they say they never work with buyers. And the first question I ask them is, well, the seller that you're representing, don't they need to buy a house? So shouldn't you represent them on that? And I have been told flat out, nope, I don't want to show my client, I don't want to be a representative of them on their purchase. I just want to represent them on the listing side. Now, I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but I do not know how you are servicing your client to the fullest if you're doing things like that. Not to mention, if you don't double end the house, right, now you only got one little bit of commission. And wouldn't your client be totally happy when you get them from this house to another house? They're going to totally appreciate what you do for them. So think about that. So this question here is really important because this allows you to understand what your client's needs are for their next home. Not just for listing this home, but for their needs for their purchase of their next. Okay? Third question, what do you like about the neighborhood? Great for your marketing. What are some of the nearby amenities? Maybe you're not familiar with the neighborhood because you don't live around there. So this is a great marketing tool as well. Lastly, what don't you like about the house? What don't you like about the amenities? What don't you like about the features? This also helps determine motivation. I don't like my neighbor. He and she wakes up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They play headbanging music. I and the other neighbors have had to call the cops for noise pollution, da-da-da-da. This is going to help determine that, right? They're going to get that out there in the open. You're going to get that out there and understand how fast they want to move. Now, part of that also, some other important questions. Why are you moving? Need to get some sleep. Need to move closer to my job. Whatever. How soon do you need to move? ASAP, 30 days, 45 days. I don't need to move, period. Again, all part of what you need, right? Is price or timing more important? Now, this is a big one. If you have a client that says, I want $1 million for my 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 400 square foot home, is that realistic? Maybe not. Especially if they tell you, oh, I need to move in 30 days or less. Okay. Well, what's more important to you? Price or timing? Do you need to move in 30 days or do you want the $1 million? All right. What are you looking for from an agent? This is an important question. Why? Because you get to get those expectations from this client. Because this is going to help determine what? Goal number 4 today. Are you the right fit for them? Well, if they tell you, well, when I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I usually like to call my agent, gab with them, shoot some ideas. So I need to make sure that my agent picks up the phone. Or, hey, I need to know that my client or my agent works with me and only me and no one else. Is that realistic for you? It might not be. But at least you get those expectations right up front. Okay? Do you anticipate any major challenges? Well, there's a big crack in the wall in the backyard. The patio looks like there's a little hill there all of a sudden. I don't know. I just never really paid attention to it before. You know, this, that, and the other. So at least this way you start needing to know what you need to disclose. Maybe there needs to be a geo inspection done before you list. Maybe you need to do an extra NHT or a termite inspection because when you walked up, you noticed there was a lot of dry rot. Whatever, right? And of course, lastly, what will you do if your home doesn't sell for the $1 million that you want in the 30 days that you need it? What are you, as a seller, wanting to do? Right? I know there are some agents here that say, well, you know, my client only wants a 30-day listing period. Okay. So they expect you to sell it in 30 days or less. And when it doesn't happen, what are you going to do? Do they know what they're wanting to do? These are questions that you should ask them. Get them to think about it, right? If you don't get the $1 million that you need, are you willing to lower your price? Or you only have a 30-day listing agreement? Would you be willing to extend out the listing agreement or the listing period, especially if we're getting showings but not any offers? Get them to think about these things. Okay? All right. Now we'll talk about your unique selling proposition, your USP. What do you do uniquely? Put that in there. Okay? Part of that, maybe signature approach, is that you tell them, hey, I believe in an upfront, no nonsense to selling real estate. I'll tell you right away if either I or someone else in my company is a good fit for your situation. Now, this is great because, hey, they told you earlier what they expected. You determined that you might not be the right fit for them, but you know somebody else in your company that can accommodate them. Now, if you refer a business to another agent in your company, what are they going to hopefully do in return for you? Pay your referral fee, right? Because I'm sure no agent attending today would ever turn down a referral business, right? Especially if it meets your needs. So why would someone else not return that favor to you? So this is a great way of, one, building up a good rapport within the office amongst you guys, because you can now share each other's listings. Like, oh, I can't service this client, but I know someone else that can service you. Like, hey, I know Bob down, at my office that is a day sleeper. He's not a night. He's up all night. He'd be able to answer any and all your questions during the day or during the evening time. Or, hey, I know a brand new agent that has no clients whatsoever. They're a great person. I've mentored them. They would love your business because I do have other clients, right? Now, my broker is going to be happy no matter what that I got a listing for the office. So no matter what, your broker is going to be happy that you just got a listing agreement. You don't have to be the listing agent. You just get the listing agreement signed for the office and then let the broker, and inform the broker. They'll be happy, right? So this is really nice. But again, thinking about the reverse psychology, if I all of a sudden say that I'll refer you to somebody else that can better suit your needs, A lot of your clients, again, will all of a sudden want you even more. No, no, no. I don't want anybody else. I like what you got to say to me. I want you. I'll accommodate. I won't call you in the middle of the night. Or, okay, I totally understand that you have other business. I want you. I like what you have to say. Right? So this goal here, or this proposition here, this approach is going to really solidify that lead with you, I think. Okay? Number 3, most importantly, be honest. I am honest about the pricing of your home. I don't think that your home's worth $1 million for the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 400 square feet, especially because I don't think that you're on top of an oil reserve, because the comps don't add up. Now, do you have to take that harsh approach? Probably not. You sugarcoat it, obviously. But what you will gain is respect. I think that's the one thing that's really lacking with a lot of real estate agents today. They don't feel that they can be fully honest with their clients. And unfortunately, clients see through it. When they get told what they just want to hear and it's not delivered upon, what do? They take it out on you. Now, if you're honest with them, and again, you don't have to be brutally honest, they may not like what you have to say, but they will end up respecting you for it. Okay? And that's the one thing that I think a lot of agents don't get right now, is a lot of respect. Be honest with those clients. Be honest with yourself. If you feel that this is just not going to work, be honest about it. If you feel that this is an overpriced home, that they're being unrealistic, be upfront about it. And say, hey, John Smith down the street or Joe Smith down the street tells you that they can get that $1 million, by all means, go list with them. But when your home doesn't sell for that $1 million in those 30 days, and whatever else that they're promising you and they don't deliver on, by all means, feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to list when you're ready. But by then, your listing is going to be aged on the market, and you'll miss out on good opportunities now because you've overpriced your listing. Be honest about it. Because the one thing that would happen is that if those clients end up respecting you because of your honesty, they'll start referring you more and more business. So think about that. Okay? Talk about why you're different. Why am I different? Because of my unique selling proposition, plus my skills and my ongoing training as being an agent. This is why I'm different. Add in your shapes. From here, by slide 11, this is your client testimonials. Now, this is where that video aspect is going to come in. Sure, anybody can write anything about themselves, right? Not necessarily true, can't convey emotion, but here, this is where I'm going to have my video. Because now when I tap on the video, there we go. That was a 30-second video about my client. So, in this case, on the testimonials, what I would recommend, paraphrase the video a little bit. What they said about you, who said it, put the hard video here. Okay? Now, next to the hard video, underneath that, put the web link where the video has been uploaded to. So, like your YouTube channel. Reason why you have all 3 elements here. One, they can look at or read really quickly what they said. But now, here with the 2 choices, the link requires that I have internet access. If I have no internet access, you can't play the video. Hence, why I have the hard video here. Now, what's nice about the video is that people get to see and hear what your past clients are saying about you, right? You've recorded them. Their new client now gets to see and hear the excitement in that client's voice. They get to see the excitement of them standing in front of their brand new home or whatever. This little 30-second stint will convey what almost 1.8 million words can write, right? So now you've got that. And a sheet of paper will not play this. Now, the reason also why I have all 3 elements is that when I email this to a client as a PDF file, the hard video becomes a solid picture. So we have the link, which is still alive electronically in a PDF file, So when they click on it, they're now referred back to my YouTube channel where they get to see this video plus any other video I've ever done. That's what you want to have. This is one of the newer aspects of what you want in your listing presentation. Okay. All right. Slide 11 here, or slide 12. What does it mean to be a realtor? This one I think is a give and take, or give or take. You can take it or leave it. I think right now by slide 11, I think you pretty much have explained what it means to be a realtor in at NAR, or just a realtor period. But if you wanted to have that here, you could. Slide 12, 13, talk about your organization. If you notice, we haven't talked about our company at all up until now. It's all been about us and the client, right? Trying to bond with them, trying to talk with them, have a communication. But hey, it's always good to talk about your company a little bit, right? Maybe where they service, how many members they have, when they were founded, what locations, things like that. Hey, we're located just down the street locally. Come and see me anytime. Or if I'm not there, please feel free to come see my broker or anyone else. We'd be more than happy to answer any and all your questions. Boom. Slide 14, your price derivative, the importance of pricing. This should be in everybody's listing presentation. Now, I'm sure everybody has seen this chart, especially with a CMA, but basically this describes your job. Your job is, and we'll just say it right now, if I list your home at the top end of the market, you're not going to get very many showings, honestly, right? You're not going to get very many showings. If you don't get very many showings, you're not going to get very many offers. If you don't get very many offers, you end up, what? Being on the market a long time. If I list your home at the bottom end of the market, sure, you're going to get flooded with tons of showings and even a ton of offers, but maybe not enough realistic offers that you will accept. Either you and I will have to do a lot of counter offers to up those offers to what you want, or B, you're going to sit on the market a long time until you get what you want, right? Which by then, you start dropping the price even further down than what's the low end. So my job as your agent is to list it at the right market value, so that way you get enough realistic buyers quickly to see this home, and maybe enough realistic offers that you will accept to get you into escrow quickly. So that's your job as the agent, right? So to paraphrase, list it at the top end of the market, not very many showings, not very many offers, on the market a long time. Listed at the bottom end of the market, sure, flooded with showings, flooded with offers, but not enough realistic offers you will accept, on the market longer. The right value equals the right amount of showings, the right amount of offers that the seller will accept to get into escrow quickly. That's your job as their agent. Pretty simple, right? Now, part of that price derivative, and this one you're going to have a little fun with, right? Because this is the hard part. Ask them to close their eyes. Tell them, I want you to close your eyes and imagine the home that you want to be in right now. You're leaving this home. What's that home that you want to be in right now in that neighborhood? What is it going to take to get you in there? How fast do you want to be there? Right? This does several things. One, it helps the client disconnect from their current property, right? You can show them in the MLS now those properties that are like this home, but better, that they want. Okay, you know that the market right now is a huge seller's market. There's not a lot of inventory. So even a choice for a buyer, when a property comes on and it's hot and it's needed now, it's gone quickly. So part of this price derivative is, if you want the top end of your market and you want the top dollar, you may not get that home as quick as you might want it. So that home that you want now may be gone. Or B, you list your home too low. Now the proceeds that you need for this house for your down payment is not there. So now you don't have enough for the down payment for the next house. So we need to get you to think about realistically, how fast and how much do you need to get into that next house? This is what this is meant for. Okay. All right. Now this is your CMA. At this point, what I recommend, if you're door knocking a neighborhood, do statistics of your neighborhood, right? Go into the MLS, outline a map of the neighborhood that you're about to door knock, pull up some hard facts about the property, or not even, or the other properties. And you don't need to put in every address or anything like that, because that's a real CMA. What you're doing is you're getting neighborhood statistics, like how many are active in the neighborhood, how many are impending, how many are backup, how many closed for the past 30 days. Maybe if you select those properties and you run a quick CMA, which is one of the reports, pull the hard numbers like median sales price, closed price, days on market, and price per square foot maybe. Great opportunity to have that on a chart. In this case, in the neighborhood, 44% are active in your neighborhood, which equates to about 15 homes out of your 1,000 homes here. There are only 4 impending, which makes up about 12% of the market, meaning that they're in escrow, along with backup offers, which is another 18%. So that means that they're still actively marketing the property for other offers to solicit, but they are in escrow. Versus the other 9 properties that have closed escrow in the past 30 days, which is now 26% of the active market in your neighborhood. But what you as the seller care about is that agents or homeowners are listing at 857 in your neighborhood and they're closing at about 870 within 45 days, or they're getting 45 days before they open escrow. So if you want me to go over a CMA right now we'll leave the presentation, go into the MLS, and we create a CMA right there in front of them about the statistics of this home and how other homes like this home are getting into escrow, okay? Or what they're being listed at or what they're actually closing for. So this is a great opportunity to create a live CMA in front of them. Just give them some hard, quick facts about the neighborhood, okay? All right, marketing a property. Much of our marketing starts today when you and I agree on the price, but no matter how much marketing I do, it will never ever sell an overpriced home, right? Everybody can agree. So the right price plus the right marketing equals a quick sale. Fact versus fiction. When it comes to online marketing, every agent that I know of says that they have the secret sauce, but in actuality, agents their listing into the MLS, your listing automatically goes out to, not in this case 1,200, but actually 91,000 websites worldwide, automatically. It is impossible today for a buyer not to find your home on the internet. If I put it in the MLS, trust me, buyers will find it. But the only reason why a buyer won't pick your home is if they consider it overpriced. So it's important that we discuss price, right? So this is fact versus fiction. Here, by slide 20, talk about your marketing. What do you as the agents do for your marketing, right? Do you do a branded website? Do you do branded advertising? Do you do RELA? Do you do virtual tours, photos, yard signs, whatever? Great opportunity to showcase some of the photos that you have done on your homes, some of your virtual tours that you've done on your homes, whatever. Even put in the links to the property websites that you've created, okay? What do you as the agent do uniquely? Because each and every agent that's attending here today does something a little bit different, okay? Getting started, totally easy. Once you and I agree on the price, I have answered all your questions. We have a little paperwork, right? Then I can have your home listed on the market in as little as, and we're going to scratch this through. Not 48 hours. Hey, you need to move in 30 days. Your home's ready to list right now. It's turnkey ready. We'll have it listed within the hour. You have access to Zip Forms Mobile. You can write up and sign the contracts right then and there. You also have access on your mobile tablet device to log into the MLS and input the listing right then and there. So if your client is super excited about wanting to list right now, get offers right now, tell them, before I leave the house, we'll have that home listed. I'll have a photo or two up. We can create a virtual tour right now. We're ready to go. You need to move in 30 days or less. It's better to get that listing on the market now than later. Now you got a leg up above everybody else because that's what you're willing to do. Now, slide 22, thank them. Give yourself a quote. What you live your life by, what you like to say, talk about, right? Maybe you put a nice little inspirational quote here. Put a picture of yourself. Have a little fun, right? Lastly, most importantly, your contact information. Your presentation should always have your contact information in it, okay? Put in your cell number, your office number, your fax number, if you happen to have fax, your email address, most importantly. Put in your Facebook page. Friend me on Facebook. Friend me on YouTube. Whatever, right? But here, I always check my text messages and emails. You should. There should be no reason why you don't, right? But tell them, and this is your expectation, your line in the sand. I almost never answer the phone while I'm showing clients homes, but will check my messages frequently. I know every agent that is attending today has had the scenario of, or has at some point or will, some sort of client that war dials you. You tell them, hey, I'm busy showing a property right now, and then every 2 minutes they're sending you a text message of some sort of question, right? Put that expectation right out there. Say, look, I understand your questions are important. I'm not ignoring you at all, but there are times when I am showing properties with a client that I can't answer your questions right away. When I say I'm with a client, please afford me that respect and know that I will get back to you as soon as I am done. Because if I am out showing properties to you, the last thing I would want to do is disrespect you in answering another client's questions while I'm with you, right? So afford me the same professional courtesy. Get that out there, right? And they will like you for that. They will love you for that, actually. Because when you tell them those expectations and in what you will and will not do, again, it's all about being upfront and honest with them, okay? Are there any questions on any of this today? Did everybody like today's demo listing presentation or how to create a presentation? Maybe. Are there any questions at all? Oh, you got a question? Yay. Very much. Thank you, Liz. I'm totally glad that you like it. Are there any other questions? Anybody? Well, if there are no other questions, thank you all very, very much for attending today's webinar. Again, you will get a copy of today's webinar emailed to you within the day, along with I will email everybody that attended today a Dropbox link to download today's listing presentation and the demo listing presentation. So how to actually use Keynote and the demo listing presentation. I'll give you access to those. That way you can download whatever format you want. If you're a PowerPoint user, you can download it in PowerPoint format. If you're a Keynote user, you can download it in Keynote or even just a PDF file. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Liz. Let's see. Vipul, I like the message to practice even if you don't have a real client today. Else you tend to forget. Oh, of course. Definitely. One of the things that I always talk about is practice, practice, practice. Practice with your other agents in the office. Hey, I have a listing presentation. I want to run it by you. Just tell me what you think, right? Or even better yet, those of you here who have spouses or significant others, this is why you have them. You can torture them. Have them sit down and say, hey, I want to practice some scripts or my listing presentation and go through it. Tell them to be honest with you. What did you think? What do you like? What can I improve on? Right? Family and friends are always going to be honest with you, for sure. So the more you practice with it, the more comfortable you're going to be. And of course, obviously, the more comfortable, the more fun you're going to have with it. So I definitely recommend that. Let's see here. Let's do this. I'm going to escape out of that. I'm going to give you guys my information again. And we'll exit. Hopefully this will exit out of. So, interesting. There it goes. So my contact information, again, if you ever need to call me or email me, you can call me at 949-586-6800, extension 104, or you can email me at Tony, Tony, at OCR.org. Feel free to call me or ask me any questions. And again, thank you all very, very much for attending today, and I hope you have a great and wonderful day. Thank you.